About that social engineer. Hey, welcome back. You watching the Liquid Lunch pregame show? Yeah, that's a little bit of the craziness that goes on behind the scenes over here. I'm joined again by my partner in crime right there, Frank Morano, and Dror Poleg joins us now. You're the author of Rethinking Real Estate. You're the co-chair of the Urban Land Institute's Tech and Innovation Council here in New York. But some of the stuff you're writing now, I agree with, and I think that Frank's been yelling at me for being too conspiratorial, but I think China had a hand in getting this virus out to maybe try to quell their population growth.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
But I think China's...
I'm trying to get somebody to agree with me here, Dror.
But I think China's response to the crisis shows one way of targeting it and responding to it, and I think the American way should be a very different one, and will hopefully can even be more successful. So I mean, China responded to the crisis by kind of partnering between the government and all its tech giants, so companies such as Alibaba and Tencent and Huawei, and using all the latest technology to kind of control their population and experiment in what can be done to control human behavior at large scale. So using drones to, fly around and identify who is not wearing a mask and then shout at them to go back home, or using temperature recognition and image recognition to see who has a fever and then automatically alert the authorities, and even incentivize people to, give them bonuses for snitching on their neighbors and telling, oh, my neighbors was coughing at the elevator, maybe you should come and get it.
So they created this citizen rewards program where you get
cities,
extra credit points for staying home, wearing a mask, telling on your neighbors.
Yes.
So there is, my thought about, social engineering is not that far off because they're using a lot of social engineering tactics, I would say.
Yes, but they're using it to respond to a crisis. There's a difference between saying that, they created a crisis in order to, heal all the old people in the world.
A little bit of a difference there.
No, it's
a little bit of a difference.
It's a big difference. But I think what they are doing, there's enough to worry about there.
Yep.
Particularly when we worry about our own lifestyle and the technology that is available over here. And these Chinese tech companies that are actually eager to export that technology, so to kind of do a China as a service for other countries, that, buy our services, we will help you with censorship, we will help you with tracking of your own citizens. And obviously we have other profit-driven organizations here that can be all too eager to step up and do the same. So on that front, we should definitely remain vigilant.
Dror, let me ask you on the real estate front. One of the things that we've seen in the midst of the economic response to this coronavirus is slashing interest rates, and we've seen an explosion in the number of mortgage applications and refinance applications. I'm curious, what does that do to the real estate market? And if the stock market continues to slide in the direction that it has been, are we going to see the real estate market follow suit? Or are these low interest rates and low mortgage rates going to keep up these high real estate prices in places like New York?
So theoretically, low interest rates are good for real estate. They're good for the real estate market, both for residential and for commercial. But what's unique about this crisis that we're just stepping into now is that we're stepping into it with interest rates at historically low levels. Usually, you step into the crisis, it begins, then the government responds, and then things can start getting better. But now we're in uncharted territory in a way. Because the crisis began, interest rates are really low. People have been refinancing for a few months now. But now with all this panic, I think most people will just slow down and say, okay, let's just wait and see what's going on. So the market will soften, at least temporarily, and we'll have to see where it is headed. But a bigger concern, it's outside of real estate, but a lot of these retirees that are losing a lot of their savings now, over the last few days, 20 or 30% of their savings, will probably have to expedite the sales of their own homes now and exit the stock market because they can't wait for 5 or 10 more years for things to go up. They have to liquidate whatever they have now so that they can live off of it for the next 20 years. So overall, I don't think it will have a very positive impact on prices.
I've been talking about this, Dror, that most people don't realize 10,000 baby boomers are turning 65 every day, okay? 1 in 4 of them will live to 80. 1 in 10 of them will live to 90, right? And most people in their 401k, they've been institutionalized to think that they have enough money saved, but they have, on average, about 3 years worth of living expenses in their 401k, and they're going to live another 15 to 20 years. Is this a good time maybe for those people to take some money and refinance their house rather than sell it with the rate so low, like to get some money in the bank, or should they be just liquidating their homes?
Yeah, I mean, in many cases, I think refinancing would be a good solution. And if you want to refinance, I mean, now is a great time to do so. But in some of those areas where these people live, the prospects for the house itself are not very good because more young people are leaving. So, you know, in 5 or 10 years, the house might be worth less and they might find themselves underwater with that refinancing. So have to be cautious of that as well.
Got it. This guy, he's a triple threat. You know, he knows about all this stuff, real estate and social engineering. And what do you got, Frankie?
No. Just before we go to break, I do want to mention one other bit of breaking news, and hopefully we can cover it on the 1 p.m. hour. It's apparently the president of Brazil, Bolsonaro, has now tested positive for the coronavirus. So we're keeping an eye on that. Yesterday we told you about the Canadian Prime Minister's wife testing positive for the coronavirus. Now the president of Brazil testing positive for the coronavirus.
Boy, oh boy, I've never ever seen anything like it. We have like, I don't know, 40 deaths in the U.S. and the whole country's shut down. I don't know. Didn't we stop vaping because, like, you know, 20 kids got sick and we ended vaping in the whole country? Now we're shutting down the whole country for, I don't know. I wish we can get more testing. But Dror, thank you so much for joining us. You got to come back again.
Thank you for having me.
Talk to us about real estate when the dust settles here with this market. And maybe there'll be some steals and deals out there for people to get in at a good point. There may be Dow slightly in recovery mode. Now only 500 off its highs of the day, up 700 for the day, but 500 down from its high of the day. I'm going to be watching this closely. A close under 22,000 today tells me Monday morning we could wake up at 18,000. So keep your powder dry. God knows what could happen, but we'll try to keep you up to date on all that. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with the 1 o'clock hour right after this. You're watching the pregame show for Liquid Lunch.